Greetings, everybody. Nino the Mystic here, and welcome to another SINDAY Live. Tonight, we got a very special guest, a reoccurring guest, EA KOETTING. How you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing spectacular. Yeah, thank you. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm hanging in there, You know, there's always issues going on, but, you know, show must go on. So here we are. Now, we
Yeah.
are expecting another guest, but I think he's having some technical difficulties with getting on. I think he might be new to live streaming, so yeah.
We'll be
Pardon
patient.
me, I do have a bit of a cough, so I'll probably be ending up muting myself here.
All right. Yeah. So glad to be on with all of y'all. Thanks for having me on here, Nina. So glad to be on the show, and so glad you were able to make it. With the guest that's coming on, I hope he's able to make it because I got, we talked a few years ago about angels and angel magic, and aligning with more harmonious energies. And at the time that we were talking, I was still in the middle of my gatekeeper working. So I was like, I don't really care about all that. But at this point, it'd be really interesting to kind of hear some of his thoughts on this. So hopefully he's able to make it in today.
Yeah, I was hoping that he was gonna be able to come, but yeah, that's really too bad. I don't even know who he is. To be honest with you, he just contacted me the other day and want to come on. So okay, so I don't even know who it is, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
Which can always be a little dodgy, but
Yeah.
pardon me, this is gonna be worse than I thought.
If you've got to tap out for your throat, just let me know and we can do this. We can reschedule or whatever. But I'm good to hang in there if you are. But if you'd like to throw me some questions and then I can just roll with it while you're coughing, I'm happy to take up the airspace. Whatever you want to do, Nina, I'm happy to do whatever's best for you.
Well, why don't we start with how you're doing and what's new with you in your world, like since last I've seen you.
Yeah, no, thanks. New with me is I have been pursuing rune magic really heavily. Right before I started my gatekeeper working, I did a Norse magic pathworking video course, and that was just a video course. I really didn't write much for it. I maybe did a little ebook for it, but I didn't put much effort into the writing aspect of it. It was just kind of an add-on of like, here's the few things you need to know. But it's been in the background, and it's been something that I've been using all along, is using the runes and working with the gods of my ancestors, the Norse gods. And so at the beginning of this year, it just kind of struck me out of the blue. I was like, well, what am I going to work on next? Runes. It just hit me like I couldn't avoid it. So I sat down and started writing it out. I've got the book finished, and it's 80,000 words, which is going to be a pretty thick book. I don't think I've written a book that thick since Book of Azazel, and so this is going to be quite a book. And so in this, I break down how to work with the runes, how to read the runes as a divinatory system, how to cast them no matter where you're at or what you're doing, multiple ways that you can cast the runes. And then I kind of go a bit deeper by going back through each of the 9 worlds and giving specific rituals and spells that you can work within each of the 9 worlds, including working with the 3 sisters of fate, working with Odin and Odin's sacrifice, and reproducing the ritual of Odin's offering into the well yourself, working with the giants for curse magic and bindings, the dark elves for manifestation and for revealing your own secret desires to you. So there's a ton of stuff that I've just thrown into this. I've got that done. The book's done, but I'm filming the video course right now. That is cool because I'm getting out into nature a lot. I feel like I do a couple scenes here in the temple, but the Norse gods are much more powerful in nature. So I get up into the forest and into the canyons, and so that's exciting. Next is going to be that I'm already working on is a glamour magic spell book that I'm writing with Zarathina Angelus. That's going to be about glamour magic, casting illusions, and then pushing that even further to actual transfiguration and transformation of yourself. I do touch on some shape shifting, but that's not really the whole focus of this. I don't want people to get sidetracked and think that they just want to get this book just to become a werewolf. Like the instructions are going to be there, but even the pathway to get there is a lot deeper than most people are ready for. It's not just, you light a candle, you say some words, and you're a werewolf. It's much more a matter of losing yourself in an ecstasy and letting the spirit of the wolf take over you and transform you however it needs to transform you. And so I'm excited about this book as well. This is super fun to write, to sit down. I'm approaching these books, and I've got a bit of a series that I'm going to be writing here that starts expanding really deeply on specific magical fields. And so I'll have elemental sorcery. I'm going to have a book on the Clifothic and Sephiroth, how to walk the tree of life backwards and upside down and every which way. And with these, I've taken a lesson from what I did in my early books. My first 8 cult classic books were awesome, and I stuck to. And people have even told me that they're like, "Oh, your first books were really great, and then you kind of started getting weird with your gatekeepers." And I did. I got really weird. It's the way that I feel about it is with my gatekeeper books. I was going into like abstract art, throwing paint on the wall and just seeing how it looks. And so I'm kind of going to be not necessarily going fully back to the structure of my previous books, but hopefully blending the two, having enough chaos that it's fun, but still having a good structured magical system that you're actually learning something. Because that's one of the things, like, I'll be honest, like my Abaddon book, it wasn't really clear what you're learning. Satan was, I had a couple of points in there where I was like, I'm not even sure what this chapter is about as I read it now. And so I want to avoid that and actually make sure that each book is delivering some real value. So I'm having fun with the whole process of writing and writing these books. So that's what I've been consumed with lately.
Yeah, that's quite a bit that you got going on there. It sounds very interesting, especially that the Norse one there. Sorry, I'm trying
You're
to
good.
send him some links here. He's still trying to get in. He says,
Well, good. Don't give up,
I
brother.
sent him
Don't
that
give
little
up.
video. I'm going to send him that little. Yes, I usually, when I have people on, I usually send them the little instruction video so that people, so they can get familiar with how to do it. It's pretty straightforward, but you do have to have Chrome. You got to have certain things. And so I don't know how to help them other than that, to send another link and a little video to watch, which you should have watched prior to, but, yeah, I hate game. And I don't know what else. I don't know how else to direct you. The phone, because I know he's on his phone as well, so that's a little different than a laptop. Laptop is a whole different ball game. It's
For
a lot
sure.
better live streaming like that. But yeah, anyways, not to take away from your stuff there. Yeah, you got quite a bit going on. I can't wait for that book to come out with the Norse. It's it'd be good to get back to basics, right? Get back to sort of our ancestry and stuff,
And that's that. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that is the feeling I've been having with the next few books I want to write. Is it's fun to get way out there into the depths of the nether worlds, but for magic is about getting results and about changing your world. I feel for myself, I need to ground it. I need to ground it back into my ancestors, back into the earth, back into some of the traditional practices that have seen us through the last several millennia, and I think that's the path that's calling me, and that's this is one of the things that I think is really fun about authentically walking a magical path. Is it goes all over the place. You find yourself all of a sudden, you're weaving over here, working with Azazel, and then Lovecraft stuff starts coming out of nowhere. You start doing that, and then it naturally will organically push you to voodoo or whatever the next thing is. And so with the Norse system, I keep looping back around to it. Like, it seems like every few years it just catches me in its gravity again, and it's got whole new things to teach me. So I'm super excited for this book to come out.
Yeah, me too. Like when you look at the old mythology and the stuff that they talk about there, and then now that we're learning more about what's going on and things, it's starting to make more sense. Like before, it was just like, what? Fire and ice and all this stuff they're talking about, now we can kind of grasp a little bit more what that's all about. And also a lot of the mythologies too sort of have the same sort of story about the nine gates, and you got this and that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to all of that than people realize. It's not just a children's fable or something. Like it's I think I believe it's real. You know what I mean? Like, and they talk the
Yeah.
giants, ice giants. I mean, we know there was giants here.
So
So
is that
yeah,
then that's actually going to be a topic of a book I've got maybe 3 or 4 books down the road is a book that's going to be on the magic of the Nephilim, which I'm going to look at the giants because that's the thing. Every continent there are stories about being giants being there. Usually redheaded giants.
yeah,
They have usually 2 rows of teeth and 6 fingers. Like there's very specific things about a race of giants that walked among us that maybe still are among us, because that's one of the things that's said out there is that some of these spirits aren't coming from another realm, that they're passed on Nephilim. I think there's a little bit of truth in that. I don't think it's fair to say everything is that. I think people try to lump everything into the one basket all the time. No, there's a million different things going on around us, but that is potentially one of the things that happen into that energy and such of the giants, which that is one of the forbidden things. Whether you're looking at the Greek pantheon or the Norse, even in South America, there's mythologies of the giants, and you leave the giants alone. You don't mess with the giants is one of the things that's common throughout all of these. And so, as a black magician, you got to go say hi to them.
absolutely. Yeah, and they're all over the world too, by the way, the giants. Like I said, the Norse, they talk about the ice giants, they call them, and they were fighting the ice giants. And so obviously there must have been a huge war here at some point between us and the giants. I guess we were food for them at some points.
Well,
So
that's one of the confusions that's there. Excuse me. And Marvel didn't help this at all, but the Norse didn't see this as different worlds, like different planets. It was different realms within the same world. And so, yeah, the giants were known to occupy the beach areas and the crags, and that there were actually in a physical mapped location that these different races were all around them. And interestingly, the only two Asgard, where the gods live, and Midgard, they're the only two that have the word "guard" in there, which is garden, and it's actually a walled garden, and that's an interesting concept about this planet, because like the more experiences I have with anything trans-dimensional and out there, and then I come back here, this world is not. This isn't natural. Most planets don't do what this world does, and it does seem more and more like this is a cultivated garden that we're living on, a zoo.
yeah, and you think about like the New Agers. They're all talking about ascending to 40 and 50 and 60 and all the way up to 9D usually, and so they also have that 9 dimensional type of thing as well. So it's everywhere. It's not
Mhm.
just in the old; it's in the new as well. They just don't realize that because they probably haven't studied the old. But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, so one of the ideas of that is that the nine is an old number used in a lot of different traditions, and one of the things I've heard or felt about it is that it's the highest in single digits you can go before having to go into a double digit number, and so with that, there's a matter of as far as individuals, as soon as you start going higher than 9, it starts muddling together. All the energy starts coming together and forming just like a brilliant white light. But then, when you get 9 representatives that you're flooding that out through, that becomes able to take form. I don't know if that makes sense. That's just the feeling I've gotten about it.
Yeah, so like 9, generally like in tarot and all of these things, 9 is usually completion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess 10 would technically be just the 1, which is the beginning, a new beginning. So where something ends, something new will begin again. So, yeah, it's very interesting that 9 does come up a lot as well. I mean, the 3, 6, 9 obviously is our universal numbers, but yeah, that does come up a lot, and with the pantheons as well. So yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. Well, there's an idea. Numbers are so interesting. I hate numbers. I hate math. It makes me anxious. But there is an interesting thing that's always been said with ceremonial magic of you're trying to square the circle and to square the triangle. And when you think about that, 3, 6, and 9 are the universal numbers, and they're very natural ways that things form in triples, right? And then you have maybe the more angelic number would be 4. And so instead of having a harmony like a circle or a triangle would have a natural harmony, it's a block with straight lines injecting an order, maybe an artificial order into the natural world. So these numbers are really, really important, and you can
mhm.
they even act as doorways. Pythagoras got all about this. The numbers and triangles were the doorways to everything, and everything is composed of them. And what I think was happening there is he started seeing through the matrix. He started seeing the underlying code that's everywhere.
Yeah,
And
I do
I can see
believe
it
that.
I can see it looking like triangles to him. To me, I can see mandalas. When I get into deep states and I can see the overlay, it looks like crisscross lines of light going everywhere.
Hmm, that's interesting, and it's kind of like we're in a matrix, right? Even the
Yeah.
matrix has the whole number thing coming down, and yeah, it's numbers definitely has a frequency to it, and it definitely it all correlates. Everything works together.
Oh yeah.
So you know, yeah. So I see there's a
Um,
few people here. We got some
yeah,
people from Facebook.
I was gonna say that. I got Jim Gerard, buddy of mine. Good seeing you here, brother. Much love to you. I hope you're doing well. I think you had him on as a guest maybe like a year ago or so, didn't you?
Yeah, he was on a while ago. Let's scroll back here and see who's here. I've been so busy. Yeah, he's in here. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I see there's
Awesome.
quite a few here. Welcome everybody. Come on in. Make sure that you guys are sharing this out, okay? And smash that like if you don't mind. And yeah, hopefully Shamash will be able to figure this out and join us some other time. It's always tricky the first time when you kind of get onto a new platform. So, especially if you're not used to it and you're not on a laptop, yeah, it makes it kind of tricky. I do remember the first time I went on there too. So, you know.
I mean, I think it's just us old people that are using laptops anymore, right?
Well, this is kind of what we do, all the time. So this is our office essentially, So
Oh,
Connor has a question here. I don't know what that is. I couldn't,
no,
no.
I'm actually looking this
Grab
up right now to see what he's talking about. This is the Grigori Grabovoi. Uh, Now, it's a sequence of numbers that carry specific vibrational frequencies. Okay, so talking about numbers then. So
Okay, so just
I,
what we were just talking about. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how you use them though, because okay, so sometimes that's a spectacular question, by the way. Sometimes I've got my radionics center back there, and so sometimes I'll be able to get these frequencies, like Pythagoras came up with a whole list of frequencies that you can use for different things, and just program them into my system and radiate the whole temple with it. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. Do you just meditate on these numbers, or I wonder how you use them? I've never used them, but now that I've got it in my search engine, I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, he's basically saying you can use it for healing or rejuvenation and manifesting with numbers. I don't know. I guess you can use it for all kinds of things.
Well, so
Yeah,
when you look at magic squares, which are really, really
yeah,
powerful, that those are all numerical. It's actually not understood how they were created, because they all, every line, no matter which way you add it, all adds up to the exact same number if you convert the letters into the geometric numbers. So there's some. And again, I hate math because it does give me anxiety. If I sit down to try to figure out the tip at a restaurant, just that kind of math gives me anxiety. It locks me up. But there is something there. It's like the secret of the mystery that I don't think I'll ever comprehend. Oh, so they are
yeah.
radionic codes, Connor. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to
You're
try
welcome.
them for radionics then. Now, one thing with that is, if it's meant to heal, that can be good if there's somebody that needs healing, but that can also act as a pattern disruption. I wouldn't quite say like fully baneful, although it could be used as that. But you can use those healing energies to disrupt things that are happening. So if you take the healing energy, what I've found is you put a what do they call it? A triangle waveform instead of a sine wave. So instead of a smooth sine wave, it's a sharp triangle and goes that'll really disrupt the energies of things. So if you're not having luck with the healing, that is one of the things Constantinos talked about this as well, is using baneful magic spirits and baneful magic itself to attack cancer or to attack a health issue. And so you can definitely use, think about the different ways. If the way that you're attacking it isn't working, and you have, like, if you have somebody you're trying to help out and whatever, I would come at it from all the different angles you could.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it works, do whatever it takes, right? To get
Absolutely.
the results, So, it's all there for us to use. Is we just don't know how to use it. It's kind of interesting. I heard somebody asked AI, where it comes from or something like that, and it answered that it's always been here. We just didn't know how to tap into it. You know,
Yeah,
just like
that's what my lunch break has been saying for a while, is that this whole system of control that's around us is not accidental. It was programmed by AI. And now that they're getting ready for the next reset, they're letting us know what was happening behind the scenes right before they hit the switch again.
I know that is the feeling, isn't it?
Right?
We're just before another reset, and it's kind of eerie. It really is. It's a strange time to be here right now. Like it really is. It's and I wanted to ask you about the three eye atlas.
Oh
Have you had a
yeah.
chance to look into that yet?
Yeah, so there's a YouTuber called Angry Astronaut, the Angry
Hmm.
Astronaut.
I
And
just found him. Yeah, I just found him
yeah,
too.
and he's pretty skeptical about most things. He a lot of times he'll because I've been following him for a couple years now, because I'm all about the extraterrestrial stuff. I'm looking in the skies. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But he debunks things if they need to be debunked. He's like, that's actually, here's what this is, guys. Don't panic. It's not Nibiru. Here, it's just this happening. But when
Yeah.
there's real stuff, he also reports on that. So I've been watching his updates on Three Eye Atlas, and it is, first off, the names of these things. Like, they're not even trying to hide the occult significance of anything. The third eye Atlas. This is going to awaken all of our third eye. What happens when Shiva opens his third eye? Everything is destroyed. So there's they're planting something just by calling it Three Eye Atlas.
Mhm.
And then Atlas, who holds the world up on his shoulders, and then when he finally takes a knee, the whole world crumbles. I don't like this. I don't like the significance there at all. Diana Pasulka talks about that quite a bit, about the reason they name things, and that they'll have whole ceremonies after they name something to christen it, or to, no, whatever the opposite of christening something is. So no, this is really so it's really interesting. Uh, they're preparing us for something. So this thing happens to come as Congress is finally pretending to that, like they're gonna tell us some information about what's going on behind the scenes. La Luna pops on Joe Rogan talking about these aren't coming from another planet; these are interdimensionals. Meanwhile, they've got this thing coming at us. Jeremy Corbell told us a couple months ago. He says there's going to be a false alien invasion where they say something's on its way, and don't believe them. It's a complete lie. And even von Braun supposedly said that on his deathbed, right? That the alien invasion, the fake alien invasion, was coming. And so it's like there's real things going on. There are actual entities that are interacting with humanity. I think that the ones that people call the tall whites, or not the tall whites, the Nordics, I don't think they're coming from another planet. I think those are ascended masters or some sort of guiding type of spirits that are here with us, or entities. They're not necessarily spirits because they can become physical. I don't know about the Greys. The Greys don't seem like they're the thing that everybody said, like from everything that everybody says about the Greys, it seems like they're more like robots or clones than they are the actual original creatures themselves. So I don't know, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on with this, but for anything to hit the news, for me to open my Google News and see a story in there, somebody had to pay for that. Somebody had to pay for that story to be there. And they didn't just pay for one, they paid for multiple of that story to be printed all over the place. And so I want to know who paid for it and what is their interest. Why do they want to? I noticed for the last few years, all of a sudden we're getting told about every asteroid or meteor that's coming close to us. That never used to happen, but they're like, oh, this one's going to come 5 lengths away is the distance of the moon. It's like, well, okay, that's cool and everything, and they say that maybe they didn't know it back then or whatever. No, they've been seeing this stuff all along, but they're rolling out this fake disclosure. Everyone that's going to wants government disclosure, you can't ask the government for truth. That's not what the government does. They don't do truth. They do the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
So it's all suspicious. Do I think that there's something there? Man, the stuff just gets weirder and weirder as they report it. Is there something headed this way? Probably. It seems like the only person that's really saying that it's could be an alien ship is Avi Loeb. That he's the Harvard professor that's really behind this. Okay, like I don't know, but it'll be here in November. And with that, we got the term of October surprise or November surprise. That in those 2 months, in order to upset things politically, that there'll be some huge thing that nobody's expecting to happen that takes everybody's attention. So this could just be that.
Well, apparently it's going to be directly behind the sun on October 29th, so just before Halloween. Ooh. And so this means that we're not going to be able to see it. So this is why people are like, ooh, what's going to happen? Because it's cool, we can't see it. Now, I don't know, could it use the sun as a portal? We know that the sun is a portal. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. Or we can't see it, so they might be doing something that we can't see. So everybody's kind of like, ooh, what's going to happen when they're behind the sun? So that's what's happening on that date. And then they've also discovered that it is illuminating its own light.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that it's got light, and not in a tail. Like the lights, all of the lights and gases would normally be going behind it in a tail.
Yeah,
and instead it's projecting it forward. So
yeah. And it's got its own light, which means it's huge. Yeah. It's humongous. Yeah, I don't know. It seems a little weird. But then again, I know with you, with your workings, you guys have been waiting for the gods to return. I mean, you know what I mean? And the Anunnaki, same thing. They said they were going to come. And when they do, it's not going to be good for us here. Right?
Well, so that's what I actually think is going on with the and Max says hi. I think that's what's going on. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
I think that
It's getting so
what
big.
people
Wow.
he is. He's growing fast. As people are seeing more and more phenomena, whether it's ships in the sky, craft in the sky, or orbs of light, or portals, they're lumping all these things in and saying these are all UAP. It's like, you got a lot of very different things, but people are seeing more of it. I don't think because more of it's happening. I think it's always been happening, but the veil is thinning so much that now we're seeing it. And I think that this is the real breakdown that's happening. And the government has no idea how to tell us that the veil between worlds is thinning. That's so much more ridiculous than things coming from another planet. But I do think that that's the biggest reality that's on us. It's not things coming from another planet, things that have been here for a very long time. That the veil is thinning, that we're able to see more of them more often. Then all of the mythologies say that they're going to come here fully and step amongst us and walk amongst us just like people, and that could very well be.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go with the Sumerian tablets, they said they're coming back. Now, we know that the elites, the people who have all the money, they're spending billions of dollars on underground, not just bunkers, but cities that they're going to be living in. So why is that? They must know something. Why is it that they're planning on going underground, right? What do they know that we don't? Is it this thing coming, or is it something else? Like, who knows, right? But it just seems kind of odd. And also, another reason why about this whole alien thing too is the Illuminati deck card.
Yeah.
The last card in there was the fake alien invasion, and this is what we've been waiting for. This is what's going to be coming at the end here, and now this is showing up. So it's like, is this it? You know what I mean? Is this the fake alien invasion, or is it actually real? Is it actually entities inside this thing? So yeah,
Well,
it's
let's talk about this. Like, how could we know the difference? What are some ways that we could discern the difference?
well, I don't know. I mean, we can channel, we can do all of that divination, all that kind of stuff, but you know, concrete proof, it's kind of hard to know until it's here. You know,
Yeah.
so
I've talked with clients that they tell me that they're getting possessed by spirits or that they're being haunted by things, and then they'll come here in person to my boot camp. Just a couple times this has happened. When they start having their experience, there's no feeling, and I'm like, oh, this is just in your head. Like, this is 100% a delusion, because there's no gravity to it. You can't. Nothing comes into the room. There's no extra presence. It's just you freaking out. And so, like, let's address this from a mental health level, not a spiritual level, because that's
yeah,
not what you need. And so that is, I think, one way of like discerning this is like, does it, when you look up in the sky and you see a craft there, does it feel real, or does it feel like you're seeing a mirage or an illusion? Because I think that's one of the big things that we see with blue beam, right? The basis of blue beam is being able to project things into the sky that aren't real. And maybe that's a good deal of what's already happening. They're testing it out and showing us these different portals and things opening. But again,
yeah,
the fact that they're telling us about it is a big red flag. Like, anything that the media or government tells you, you really you have to assume it's a lie, and that somewhere in there they're trying to manipulate you through that lie.
hmm hmm yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know. So it's yeah, it's I don't know. I keep asking everybody. It seems to be everybody's talking about it now. So I don't know. There's something about it. So I guess we'll find out I guess come October 29th, see if anything happens then. But I can see them using both, obviously, that using something that's actually there, like a comet or something like that, and then add on their CGI stuff, their blue beam and all that other stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised all of a sudden something showed up from behind the sun on Halloween now then or something. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
could be just
But here's
them and not whatever.
but
But
here is one big thing, like a couple big things that I think are undeniable. One of them is something big is about to happen. We can all
yeah,
feel it. We can all feel
yeah,
it. The second part of that is we've all been guided where we, so for many of us that are in this chat and are going to listen to this, the very physical place that you live at, you were guided to live there. Many of us are living in the exact place that we were guided beforehand by our intuition, by the spirits that we work with, telling us what we need to do, whatever it is, by our friends and family going, hey, babe, it's time to get out of Dodge and go over here. We're being guided in a million different ways. And so then the third thing I'll bring into it is that we can lean on the fact that we're going to continue being guided, even with the discernment of it and whatever. I think we're going to, whatever we need to do, wherever we need to be, we're going to find ourselves there. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I would just hope that the whole planet just goes at once, and we all just get just go woohoo, and it's all over. Because it sounds like a whole lot of struggle to try to fight aliens and fight a fake alien invasion. but I'm not a quitter, and so if I've got to make some walls and put some 50 cal guns on the walls, god damn it, we'll do it.
Oh yeah, I hope it goes fast as well. Whatever it is that they're planning on doing, I mean, it's whether it's like a flood or because I mean, like going back to the old Anunnaki thing. So, for those who haven't read the story, when they come back, they do talk about being their ship is like a planet. It's huge, and as it's approaching us, it's going to disrupt our planet here, and and then you start wondering, well, that's kind of what's happening here already, isn't it? Climate change. I mean, you know what I mean? We are getting a lot more earthquakes. We are getting a lot more, all these things that they talk about. And the big thing is, it's going to be this big flood that comes when they come in, because that's what's happened before, I guess, and whatever. And so that might explain why we've had all these things, all the floods and stuff like that before. So, so if that's the case, I hope it goes fast. If we're up here, for most of us are going to be up on the surface, so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's, but I unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that there's going to be a whole lot more struggling and fighting to do in this life, and so I'm down for it. And either way, that was when I was just a little kid, one of the very first movies that I ever watched in my life was Star Wars, A New Hope, and the scene where Obi-Wan says, "Strike me down, and you'll make me more powerful than you could ever imagine." That still stuck with me, where it was like, yeah, that's right. This life isn't everything. This life is just one part of it, and the me that is truly me, it's just going to find another form that I can continue my work, just like I have done already a million times, and all of us have.
Well, that's just it. I'm sure that most people are listening to this are, aware that, this, we just go into a different, a realm or whatever. Like, this isn't it, obviously. You know what I mean? So no worries. Even if it is the end, sort of, it's just the beginning of something else. We'll all meet up on the other side. Hopefully you'll be a Valhalla there, and we can have some beers, and
Yeah,
and we can
for
sit and
sure.
talk about what a rough time we had down here. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, but the reality is that there is a big shift and change that's already happening. We can all feel it, and um, so the news that everybody has had about that, or the advice that everybody, Dolores Cannon, even Terrence McKenna, when he was talking about this time wave zero approaching, is the best thing that we can do is raise our vibrations. However, whatever that means for us is, lean more into your spiritual practices, lean more into whatever it is that you can do that's gonna make you feel healthier and happier and more joyful. And because I think no matter what happens with the governments and with the natural calamities, that's all just reflections coming forth from what's happening in the spiritual dimensions. And so the best protection you can give yourself anywhere is to upgrade yourself spiritually, to get yourself to the point the feeling that I've got for it is light. Get you and not a fake like religious light, but that you feel light, that you don't feel heavy and burdened, that you feel like you can walk and exist lightly in your own body. And you can't do that if you're carrying a lot of secrets. You can't do that if you're ripping people off and lying to everybody. And so get right with yourself. It's not a matter of getting right with any God. You are God. Get right with yourself so that way you're vibrating at the highest frequency possible, and then that guidance is going to come through, and then the miracles can happen to either bring you through this or to get you out of this existence if that's what your goal or what your destiny is. But either way, that's one of the things Ram Dass kind of points to a lot. Is he's like, look, no matter what way it goes, if we're all heading towards like paradise or to hell, get right with yourself, and get quiet and get into your own inner space, because that's where the real work happens.
Absolutely. That's what they talk about in the Egyptian, pantheon, about weighing of the heart. And that's what that's all about, and they're huge on the afterlife, preparing for the afterlife, and get ready for it. And because we're all going to be going there no matter what, nobody's getting out of here alive. You know what I mean? So we might as well prepare for the other side and, be more spiritually prepared. That's definitely a huge one, I would say, especially right now. So we all should step it up a little bit, and be ready, that we're ready, and say, yeah, everything's done and I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love a feeling of like an open readiness. If it's my time to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ready to go. If
No
it's my time,
rush, but, yeah.
whatever it is that's going to bring
Yeah.
me, I am ready for it. Behemoth X in the chat, I love you, brother. Behemoth says we will have all our answers. Oh, dude,
I guess once we
that is
cross,
the
yeah.
thing that as this continues to unfold and the veil drops even more, those of us that are pushing our faces into the veil as they are going to get the first glimpses, and our answers our questions are going to be answered, and then you know what, I'm going to have a ton more questions. Oh man, I'm so excited. I am honestly, no matter what actually happens and shakes loose in the physical world, I'm excited, because like you said before, like this is a crazy time to be alive. Like
Yeah.
for us to be here and experiencing this, it's not by accident. This is, no matter what way things go, whether it's into complete disaster or into whatever, we can't deny that the things are reaching a peak that's never been reached by humanity before. And it's not just of technology. The technology, again, the things happening in the physical world are just reflections. The technology is a peaking of energy, and it's not just energy. So in preview, here's my little thought with this. In previous eras, I'm spilling shit. In previous eras, I think it was understood that to work miracles and make things happen, you had to get yourself to a very deep, very high state, and you had to go and reject your body and do all of these things to get yourself into this really deep state to get a ton of energy. I think the system figured it out somewhere along the way. Instead of doing that, that's asking a lot. You just create a ton of people, and then you have those people all just being programmed to give a little bit of energy all day long in the form of fear and anxiety and hopes and dreams and all of this shit that all gets harnessed and put towards what they want. It's the exact same thing as the monks in the monastery, but they figured out how to spread it among all of these people.
Oh, yeah. This is why they're ramping up the fear constantly, putting us in a state of fear at all times. It's, they're feeding off us. I saw something interesting actually on Enoch Perticelli, or whatever his name is. He had a channeling from Hecate, and she had told him that our planet is actually 50% larger than what we think it is. And I thought that, that resonates with me, because I think in that too. I think we're actually penned in here in a very small section on this planet with an ice wall around. That's why we're not allowed to go past the ice wall. We can't fly over. We're not allowed to do all this kind of stuff. I think we're penned in here in a very small section, actually. And this is why the flat earthers are right, and also the globe earthers are right, because the part that we're in, if you're measuring and doing all these things, it's going to appear flat, because we're not, we're only on a small section of the whole globe. And so all these other places are around us.
Mm.
You know, so
Mm.
I thought, oh, very interesting. There's so much more to this whole thing than
Well,
we realize.
yeah, that's a really interesting thought because it's it's if that's true, then that's happening on multiple levels, being that we're penned in and there's other geographical places that are possibly around us that we're being kept away from. And at the
Mhm.
same time, there are things that are energetically just outside of our frequency that can materialize and dematerialize and these kinds of things that we're not able to do. And so it's
Yes.
like we are trapped in this four-dimensional illusion. I mean, it's very real. All of this is very real, but it's not the. This is what all the mystics have been saying. It's not the ultimate reality, but the ultimate reality, when you get back and touch it, there are layers to it that are very physical, just as physical as this reality we're currently in. But they're in a phase shift. They're just in a slight phase shift. But I've seen this, and other people have seen it. If you just gaze up at the sky, you can start to see these like highways running through the sky, and to me it just looks like, if it's in the daytime, it looks like a dark strip along the sky. If it's at
Hmm.
nighttime, and I'll kind of see it like glowing a little bit, and it is with your psychic vision, but I'll be able to see it pretty physically, and it seems like there's things moving along these highways in the sky, and it's like a travel corridor. We're surrounded by all kinds of, I think, complicated machinery that's just just phased out. And this is what they say about the jinn, right? That the jinn, let's go with this. The jinn exist in a realm that's like a shadowy realm just alongside us. They have their own homes there. They have their own life that they live. They can be interacted with, and there are things that they want from our side that they can't get. For instance, the jinn are known to like some dairy products, and so you can give them different dairy products as an offering. They go up to Ireland, and in Ireland they have the shining ones that came, the Morgan being the most famous among them, and these were a supernatural race of beings that lived amongst them, and then disappeared when they vanished. They didn't go to another world. They went to another realm, a realm of mist that's alongside this world that they can't be touched here, and they were said to go into the rocks and the caves. The same story is told. The Norse have similar stories about this, of the all the spirits, the elves and the sprites and the gnomes, that they live inside of the earth and inside of the cracks of the rocks and all of that. So there's something to this. The same story just being told over and over and over again. There are things that are living around us that are very advanced, that are right there, but they're just out of touch because they're just phased out. They're in the realm of mist rather than of substance. Same thing with the Naga. The Naga, supposedly serpent entities that lived amongst us. The Naga, where the Shiva was a Naga that taught. He's called the Ardi Yogi, the first yogi who taught yoga, and he was in the form of a serpent, and a serpent man, and that the whole world was inhabited by these serpent beings, who then went into the earth, and they went into the middle earth, or into the underground realm. So, but they're still here, living just underneath us, basically. So the same thing is told over and over and over again. But I think if we were to crack the lid on it and see everything and know everything, it's not just one thing. It's not just, I think there could be visitors from other planets, but that's just not the only thing that's going on. That there are a million different things, but it is interesting how all of these things do seem to be focused on our planet and our species, that we're not accidental. None of this is accidental. In fact, it's so planned that every single religion has talked about the whole wheel of life and the way that all of this is going to progress and all of it's going to end. It's all already been planned out.
Yeah, they've already kind of told us, right, in our biblical text, I guess. And there's one thing too that kind of stands out to me right now from the Bible. They somewhere, I can't remember exactly where in there now. But he talks about rolling up the world like a scroll. Like he'll just roll it all up like a scroll. That to me is almost like an admittance of it being a matrix. But this is just some kind of game. He'll
Yeah.
just roll it up like a scroll. Like really, that, you know what I mean? Like, so they're kind of telling us there that
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, for sure. Well, no, no, there is something to that. There's well, and even the fact that in at least the Abrahamic religions, in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, it's thought that all of your deeds are being recorded. It's kind of like a scoreboard on a video game is being kept of you, and you're going to get your final score. That there are a lot of elements of our life and the way that and it's not. It'd be really interesting to I don't, I don't know if primitive societies have this. If they do, then it's a really interesting thing that's been implanted and programmed into our genetic structure to have this way of thinking about things and doing things. Because we're a very weird animal. We don't do things like any other animal here.
Hmm. Yeah, we're very out of touch here. We're the only species on this planet that can't survive out in nature, just as it is. We don't
Right.
have the fur or scales or anything on us. We don't survive out there. We're clearly not from here. We're definitely a hybrid from somewhere. And yeah, we're like a fish out of water here. But going back to the being penned in, like, so who's to say that there's not giants living on the other side of the ice wall that we can't see, and that we're being kept penned here for either for the loosh energy battery type of thing, or literally, as food. 'Cause let's face it, we have a lot of people who seem to disappear. Let's say, and so where are they bringing all these people to? Where are they going exactly? You know what I mean? Are they being offered up over here? Who knows, right? We can go all over the place with this, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Well, so thinking about that though, when when I think about giants, I'm going to be honest, I get a little racist with it, where I think of them as being like stupid, and they're still carrying around clubs and bashing things, and they don't use too many words. But that's actually not what's been found, especially in the North American giants that have been found, where they have elaborate rituals that they do, ceremonies that they lay out for the dead, there's actually, the Smithsonian is good to sweep in and cover up whatever they can that shows that. But they were a very advanced people living amongst the North American Native Americans, and so much so that the Navajo avoided them. It was just understood. You don't go near the red-headed giants, and so. But that does make me think, if they're living somewhere else, they're likely very advanced at this point. Very advanced.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah, I'm sure they're probably way more advanced than we are. You know, I've heard of there's these military people that swear that they found one, a large one, and this giant. I think he killed them all, but yeah. So there has been sightings for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And Behemoth X says, like, we've been misplaced from all other animals. Yeah, for sure. Set apart. That term comes up over and over and over again in religious and spiritual contexts, is set apart. And like, what does that actually mean? And this is something that is going to be a big part of my Nephilim book when it comes out, is we are Nephilim. We are the offspring of the Nephilim. And maybe we weren't the giant offspring, but if you actually look at it, there were multiple different types of Nephilim. And when I hit up Azazel about this, he basically said, yeah, you can. It's a quality within yourself that you can enhance your Nephilim quality, and so you can actually become more Nephilim. But there is something of like, we're not, and even the idea of Nephilim, it's not, it's a hybrid, and so
Yeah.
that is what we see of ourselves, that we're kind of like everything else here, but then halfway like we're halfway like our dad and halfway like our mom.
Yeah, I think we're partly part of the whole Bigfoot thing that they call Bigfoot. I think that might be part of us actually, and then mixed with whatever other thing, because they seem to be around us still here on this planet. I know you've seen one. We did a video last year where you told us about your Bigfoot thing, and
But
so they're real. I mean, yeah.
yeah, well,
Um,
if you look into, like, as I've looked into Bigfoot, with my experience, so just to retell it, I'm just walking home. It's getting a little late, getting a little harder to see. And so I will give you that. It was getting a little harder to see, so my vision wasn't perfect. But I come around the corner and I see what looks like an adolescent boy, but covered in fur. From like every part of him is covered in fur, except around his eyes, which was dark skin, not like African skin, but the blackest skin I've ever seen. But I can see his eyes really clearly, and and his eyes actually, I'm going to say they had kind of like a yellowish glow to him, and he looked just as surprised as I was. I walked around the corner, and, oh, yeah. And he kind of had a similar expression, and he took a couple weird, it was a really weird way of moving too. It was almost like a little dance, like a little jig that he moved, and crouched down into a shadow and then vanished. Now I have my phone on me, so I take my phone out and jiggle it to get the light on, and there's nothing there, nothing there. And so I was like, what the heck? So I started looking into it, and a lot of people that have Bigfoot encounters say that he'll disappear into a shadow or into an orb of light, that he'll become an orb of light and then fly off or disappear from them. So
Mhm.
there's something going on with Bigfoot that I don't think it's just a big animal living amongst us. I think it's something that's able to cross back and forth a bit.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think what happened was is they apparently they took out 10 out of the 12 DNA strands. So we're only operating on two apparently. So the Bigfoots and all these people have all of them. So they have all their abilities. They can cloak themselves. They can go into different dimensions. They have all their powers, if you will. And we've lost that. They took that away from us because they didn't want us to have it. So that,
Hmm.
kind of makes sense, so that's kind of interesting
Well,
how, yeah,
that makes me kind of think that that might be part of why, as long as there's a system of control that started in Egypt, not ancient Egypt, but modern Egypt, where that somebody took over and took control and has been controlling the world pretty much ever since. And it's the systems of control, the powers of tyranny that has kept humanity going in this one track. And they have always insisted that magic only be kept to a few, the select few. The elite can only have magic,
yeah,
and that could very well be why. Is that and this is the promise of Belial, and this is actually the promise of almost every magical path, is that you awaken yourself and you unlock these powers, these ancient hidden powers that have been locked, that we've been locked out of. That these things will unlock it, and so of course the systems of control would want to keep us far away from this if this can unlock the powers that they don't want us to have access to.
exactly. And that's why they literally demonized, anything, whether it would be tarot or astrology or any of these things, that was considered evil because they don't want us tapping into our own powers, into our own, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, we know that we're being farmed as animals. They want us stupid animals. They don't want us thinking too much. Wow, it's got a huge owl out there. Anyways, yeah, they don't want us thinking too much, right? Because then that's not good for them. So, we're smart enough to, to operate the machinery, but not smart enough to ask why or
Hmm.
anything else for that matter. You know what I mean? So, yeah, which is kind of unfortunate. So, we'll have to keep
Yeah,
working on unlocking our powers, just to stick it to the man. There you go.
yeah. Yeah. No, but I'll tell you what, that has been a little underlying motivation for me, because I am an anarchist and a rebel, and I do in my own way want to tear this entire system down. But the way that you do it is by giving people their own power, just handing them the tools to access their own power. And if each of us can just level ourselves up as much as possible, that is where that's the only way of breaking free. That's the only way of breaking free, is it is on an energetic level. This is what every all the even the black magician Jesus was saying, this is that it's a spiritual battle. Every battle you fight is a spiritual battle, and if you win the I think it was it Sun Tzu or Mushashi. This is one of the great Asian thinkers, said that the battle happens in your mind. And if you can win it in your mind first, then you've already won the battle. If you lose the battle in your mind, if you don't think that you've got it, if you don't have confidence in what you're doing, there's all your physical action is going to be for nothing. And so you've got to line up your energy, get your mind straight. Like I said, get any kind of heaviness or anything that you're able to address. Dude, there's so much in life that we all spend like ignoring and trying to avoiding different things that no, just face the things that you got to face and then let the other stuff go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. Well, you have a good night there, Baymont. I guess he's going. But yeah, if anybody has any questions for EA, put them in here and we'll get those answered. If not, I guess we're already over an hour here. Now, was there anything else that you wanted to talk to us about tonight? Anything going on or anything new?
Well, we've had a couple questions and comments come in about radionics, and Connor's shared
Okay.
those things with us. So I am working right now with Byron, this incredible black magician that is also a tech. I think he's an audio technologist or something, but he's helping me build radionics boxes, and so we're going to have the first ever Become a Living radionics boxes. One of the big things that's going to make these different from every other box is that they're going to run on alchemite cores. So in my radionics book a year ago, I talked about alchemite. It's basically a hypercharged form of organite. And I give you the recipe for that in the book. But I've made, Byron and I got together, made these cubes, these cores of alchemite that are going to be in your devices. So these, as far as my opinion goes, these are going to be the most powerful radionics boxes that are going to be ever put out. I don't have a link for anything for that yet, but that is going to be coming out probably in the next couple months. So that's exciting. More than anything, though, I'm trucking forward. My like I was saying earlier, that magic always winds and takes you wherever it takes you, and I'm still just following that. And it's cool. It's cool that it still does it. That after all these decades of doing this, that it's still exciting, that it's still lighting me on fire, and that I've still got things to share. Because that's always especially as an author, I'm like, well, what if I run out of things? And I do think that from time to time, like, what if I run out of things to talk about? And then boom, stuff starts to lighten up, and so it's exciting that this is a living path. Like, this isn't just something that's historical that we can study what Crowley said. No, this is alive for us today. So it's exciting time to be alive again.
Yes, for sure. It's a very exciting time. I know. Yeah, I can't wait for fall. I can't wait for summer to be over and fall's here, and it's always a magical time. And then of course we got that whole, Atlas thing coming in. So it's going to be interesting time coming up. I can't wait.
Well, now one thing I did. I've consulted with astrologers, a couple different astrologers, Bill Duvendak and a couple others, about asteroids, and not about this one in particular, but just the effects of comets and asteroids on an astrological reading. And he said the specifically, Bill said one of the biggest effects of that is in people's moods. Because what you can see that as is a comet or an asteroid is passing through and disrupting things, but not really touching things, not really causing disturbance, just creating a distraction. And so while this comet or asteroid or whatever, or alien ship or whatever it is coming into our solar system, the big thing is just not let yourself get into. Don't let your crazy moods affect your behavior. I'll say, like, keep your yourself. It's okay to feel weird things. Just don't start taking that out around the people around you or anything like that. That's the big advice for when you have asteroids or comets coming to you, or alien craft, alien motherships. Don't panic. Just relax. Buckle into your practice and your thing, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I have actually noticed a lot of people are going cray. A lot of things happening. Like, I think everybody can feel something is happening, and a lot of people just can't handle it. Essentially, they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what it is, that energy that they're feeling. Yeah, if that's you, just take it easy and just work on yourself. Right, get yourself prepared and spiritually and whatever way, and enjoy life. Just enjoy every minute. Enjoy your family. Enjoy all the little things. because no matter what happens, and it's one of the quotes that you have is that no matter what happens, I'll be okay. It's one of those
Yeah.
things that and no matter what, we'll be okay. So yeah.
No,
Well,
100%. Awesome. It's been so much fun. I'm so glad that we
yeah.
were able to get on and chat, and we'll have to set it up with Shamash for another time. We'll set it up at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to try it again, and hopefully you'll maybe I'll do a practice run or something with him and see if he can't
Yeah.
get on there. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Eric. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you smash that like, share this out. Eric's links as well as mine are down in the descriptions. If you want to check him out, he goes live every Wednesday over on Odysee. So if you want to check him out there, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. So thanks everybody. Bye.